Hey YouTube, this is Rescue Museum Parker Fan 62. It is Tuesday, uh, March 7th at about 6 o'clock. First of all, I want to apologize. I haven't been on for a few days. Um, I've been having to deal with a lot of family issues. Now, when you think of WWE themes, what do you think of? Especially once you grew it up during like the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. So you will think about Chris Jericho's Break the Wall Down. Stone Cold Steve Austin, I won't do what you tell me. Brock Lesnar's next big thing. Maurice's Pourquoi. I hope I said her right. The Undertaker, many of his like Spirit of the Undertaker. Then during the Ministry of Darkness, uh, Dark Side V2, which is the one where he has that evil laugh. And then his current one up to him retiring, which was Rest in Peace. And then also one that kind of goes under the radar that you don't really think about, but it was a good one, was All Grown Up for Stephanie McMahon when she became the SmackDown General Manager in the mid 2000s. Now, with that being said, WWE's had about three major record labels, I should say, on doing their music for them. Um, they've had Jim Johnson, who did all those that I just said. And then in the mid teens, they went to a company called CFO, dollar sign. So and then now they're using a label called Def Rebel. So a lot of the current stars have actually has themes from both. Um, for example, the Street Profits, you bring the swag, is from CFO. Now that is actually a ripoff of another song from a long time ago. I'm not sure the name for that. Um, now the group, brother, uh, the Bludgeon Brothers, had a theme called Brotherhood. So they, so that was by CFO as well. Um, now, Finn Balor, when back in NXT, and then when he came up, had a theme called "Catch Your Breath." And the cool thing about it was it had like a heartbeat to it, so it was like mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Then it started getting into it. Well, um, Def Rebel did a remix of it, so it's kind of neat because it has more of like a dark tone to it, which is something that's really cool. Um, now, um, Sanity, the group Sanity, had a song called "Controlled Chaos." Now, and that song was used by all members of the group, even including Nikki Cross when she would have her matches. But then when Sanity broke up, um, Nikki Cross got her own themes. Now, Nikki Cross since then has had a total of like three different themes, I think, um, from the group Def Rebel. Um, Somewhere she's had like uh, one of the ones she had after was sort of a generic theme. I can't remember what it was called, but then she has her current one, which is uh, the Strange Loner or something like that. So it's like a remix of the current of the Sanity theme. Now, before that, she had the Nikki ASH gimmick. And with that, you had the theme, which was pretty neat, called Spirit to Win. Now, the thing about that was, it was kind of neat because it had like that really like hype tone to it. Now, with Bayley, um, when she debuted in WWE, she had a hugger gimmick called Turn It Up. And it was kind of like, I'm not going to sing it, but so she had those wacky wavable inflatable tube men. So then she had, so then when she went heel, she had a theme called Deliverance, I think. And so you could tell that it had like a slightly darker tone to it. Well, when she returned to SummerSlam last year, she formed the group called Damage Control. So with that, she so they had the group called like We Got the Rage. Now, some of the themes that are in WWE currently are remixes of older songs. So, for example, one of Drew McIntyre's famous songs is one that he used for Clash of the Castle last year. But the one he's best known for as of recent is what is that called? Gallantry. So then there's a remix of that where you have the sword mixed in. So especially with groups too, they'll use one theme for a bit, then they come up with their own. For example, when the Iconics first started, Billy Kay had a theme called Femme Fatale, which actually was a good song. So, and then her friend Peyton, Peyton Royce, had a song called Sultry. So at the time, she was known as the Venus Flytrap of the WWE, whatever that means. And it was interesting because they formed these, and then they formed the Iconics. Then they went with the Femme Fatale. Now, when they broke up, they got they each got different themes. Now, I don't have Peyton's new theme per se, but I do have Billy's. It's called like Seduction, and it's kind of neat because you hear it, then every so often you'll hear Billy Kay in like a sexy way. So that was kind of neat. Now, certain people as well get several theme songs during their run in the company. So, for example, with Alexa Bliss, when she debuted she had a song called Blissful. This is when she was a fairy princess. So she would you so at the beginning you hear then she'll say her name in there, and then she'll in it like kind of blow like sparkles in it. So when she turned heel in NXT, she went to a song called Spiteful. So this is to show more that she means something other than just being a cute, attractive girl. Um, so this was her theme song for a long time in the company, up to when she met Bray Wyatt. So from there, she started to change things. Um, so when she went to, um, so when she changed, she went to a song called The Fury, which was a remix of Spiteful. So, um, so in it, she will say like, the pain and stuff like that. So as she got farther along in it, so when she went face, she went to a song called "The Evil Is Mine." Um, and this one was not the best one, I will say, because it just felt kind of rushed, I should say. Um, so then after that, when she was away for several months, she came back with a new theme called Fight Me that she wrote. Now, this one isn't bad either, um, but it the problem is with her current character now, it doesn't really fit it as much. Um, and then there are some people as well who have had the same thing since the beginning. Like for example, with Nia Jax. Which her song was called "Force of Greatness." So you hear, mm, "I'm not like most girls." Now, um, also with certain superstars as well, they've had numerous theme songs since they have come into the company. One of them is Mandy Rose. Up to about when she got major airtime, she was having a lot of these well unknown themes at the time. The best one that comes to mind is called like uh, Rose of Bed of Roses or something like that. That is one that really you can't find as much. But then in NXT, she formed a a persona called the Golden Goddess. Um, so the theme that went with it was meant for, and I hate to say this, sort of sounded like some sort of like softcore adult entertainment type. So after that, she had a song called "I Have Arrived." Now she still has to. Now it still has the word Mandy in it, but from there it was just sort of generic. And then, so when she went back to NXT, she formed a group called Toxic Attraction, and this is the one that they got to be well known for was called Toxic. Um, so it would go toxic, sort of like seduction-y, and so then it would go into the song. Now, with some stars as well, they've only had only a couple of themes in their career. For example, with Roman Reigns. For the longest time, he was best well known for his theme, "The Truth Reigns." Um, but then when he formed the Head of the Table persona, it changed to Head of the Table. Now this one is neat because it sounds like it has like a choir in it and all of that. Now with some of the stars as well, they have had several themes, but they almost sound similar. Um, for example, Matt Riddle, when he first came into the company, he had a song called "Hey Bro." Now, if you're not aware of him, he has like a stoner persona per se. So he's always like bro, stuff like that. So then he went to another song called "We Up," and and then the other one that he was best known for is his remix with Randy Orton for "RK Bro." Same with somebody like Damian Priest. He's had a few of them as well. The gimmick he was best known for was called the Archer of Souls, I think, or something like that. So every time he would get on stage, he would kind of go like this, and it looks like he's doing a bow, and then the Titantron would be like full of flames and stuff. It was very neat. So, and then you also have stars as well who um, who was in the company and had these themes, and then they came back and either stuck with the theme that they had, or um, had one that was sort of similar. For example, um, when Bobby Lashley came into WWE, he had a theme called Dominance. Now, if you don't know what that is, unfortunately, I hate to say this, the one that he was best known for with it was where he would bend over and basically show his butt to the camera with his hype man, um, Leo Rush. So Bobby went away for a bit, and so when he came back, he came up with the persona called the Almighty. So basically, this is where essentially nobody can beat him. And I hate to say this, but his current entrance now looks somewhat similar to Impact Wrestling's Moose. So if you look at their current entrances now, you can see that they're about the same. Now, another one that is that way as well is Mia Yim. For the longest time, and when her first run in the company, she had the theme called Number One. So when she came back in November of last year, she had this new theme called "I Am," and it's kind of neat because you don't really know what they're saying, but you can tell that they're there. Now, also, um, you will have certain stars that have themes where you're like, what in the world are they saying? For example, Dewdrop, where they will say the name of the person, and then they will use all these random adjectives like "I am," "I is," and stuff like that. Um, and then you will have some one who also will go through several themes, but it's the same type gimmick. For example, with Carmella, the one that she is most known for is her theme, "Fabulous." Um, so when so it would go FABLOUS, and then it would start that. Well, when so she started this more of like a sexy persona per se. Um, so she got one called uh Tradizi. I think I said that right. And this is where basically she would stand in the entrance. The whole back will be white, and while like this vignette plays on the Tron of like showing her lips and stuff like that. Um, but then she went away for a while due to personal issues, and then she came back with "She's Bad." Now the thing about that is it doesn't ever really talk about why somebody is bad. It just talks about it. So it basically talks about them looking sexy, having the right figure, and stuff like that. So it's just one of those where it makes you wonder. Now another person who had the same theme in what they're running in the company is Kelly Kelly with Holla. Um, now another one who's had the same theme but a remix of it is Dakota Kai. So when she went heel, she had the theme called Combat. Well, for some reason, they decided they would go with a remix of it where you just hear these random screams throughout. Now, another person who's had the same situation is Liv Morgan. She's had several. Um, the one that she's best known for in this is what is that called? Living Large. So this be where you hear the word yo like several times. And then when she started to get more I I can't think of the word, but this is so she had a theme called Nana. Now the thing about this was it was one of those where it was okay, but it sort of seemed like a step down from Living Large. So, um, so then she started saying, "Watch me." So then that turned into a theme, which sort of sounded like a video game backdrop, sort of. So then she changed her theme again, called "Liv's Gone Mad," where it's basically the same as before, just sort of has a rock tone to it. Now, one where basically everybody loved the song, but WWE like decided they would mess with it was Keith Lee's "Limitless" because one he sang it, and then when he came up to the main roster, he had all these songs where it would keep the beginning of Limitless, but then it would go into this like generic beat. Now another one which has a cool theme to it is Candice LeRae's, where it's uh no, where it's like you hear like this person going like very lightly in the back. Um, Now another one is Tayconings. Now with that, they basically fit her 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 background, which at the time she came from Brazil, so it had like that Latin theme to it. Now with the new recruits, they have I shouldn't say stepped it up per se, but um, they have had some good ones, like Twisted Generation with Cora Jade. Um, but then when she went heel, it was sort of like a screamo type thing. Another one is Saddle Up with Fallon Henley. Um, Now another one where um, it's good is the doll for Selena Vega because it goes Selena Vega, and it sort of has like this Latin feel to it. Now another one who's had several themes as well in his career is Seth Rollins. All of his, to a point, except for one, has had sort of like a heavy metal feel to it. But then during the pandemic, he went to one called the Visionary, I think it's called. Um, and then you have the one he has today, which is I forgot. Oh, uh, anyway, the current one he has now is where you'll hear the whole crowd go, "Oh." I know that's bad. So then another one that where they've kept like the superstars background is like Shinsuke Nakamura with the Rising Sun, where he has come from Japan. So with that, um, you have that Japanese feel to it and everything else. Now, with some stars as well, they have gone outside and gotten third party music. So, for example, with Ronda Rousey getting Joan Jett or Triple H with Motorhead. The biggest one who that comes to mind is Bray Wyatt with the first one called Living in Fear. So it sort of had like that swamp feel to it. And then when he became the Fiend, he went to his good friends at Code Orange, and they did that awesomely. Then so when Bray got fired and everything, when he came back at Extreme Rules last year, he they had Shatter, and that is good as well. But overall, WWE has some great themes, and also they have some that are